expecting in the report. So they will.
Okay, no, Chetan, no issue. You can, yeah.
It's fine. I will do it for.
Decline.
Yeah, because I got a couple of people's pings. They said they couldn't join it because some XYZ reasons, and they really want to participate. So let's do for this time, but this will not be the each and every time's format for the recording. Okay. Let's start with a quick intro. We have a format. We have a three things because name we already know. We can say on your screen, so we don't need your name. So what was the format last time we discussed? Anyone can just share what are the three questions?
The reason.
Sandeep, okay.
Activity. Any activity.
Name it's already there. So where is from, and why is joining this session, and one funny activity.
Yes, funny face, funny dialogue, whatever you want, you can do that. And we also have one prerequisite. If you can switch on your video, that's really helpful, so that at least we can connect with each other, right? So that's the thing. Let's start with Sabina.
Yeah, please, Sandeep, you can repeat it. What three tasks?
Yeah, first thing from where you are. The second thing is what's the purpose of joining the workshop, and the third thing is any funny stuff. You can bring any dialogue, any funny face, or whatever you want. If you really want to do dance, that also you can do that.
Okay, yeah. Currently, I am from Faridabad, and currently I am working as an IT officer in the union. It's a mainly international NGO which deal with the health sector in tobacco control, lung cancer disease, TB, and provide support to the Ministry of Health, Family Welfare, state governments, and other stakeholders in all over India. And apart for this, we have also support China, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Pakistan to provide a capacity building support regarding the health perspective, and help to give a complete guidance or ideas, suggestions to how to give how to elaborate the things and how to improvise the health structure of this in the countries, using which laws you have, how to focus to implement health related laws in our country, how to strengthen the health sector in our country. So more than 250 staff in our organization, and currently I am manage National Tobacco Control Program in India and provide support to the ministry and other stakeholders in other states. And dialogue, जली को आग कहते हैं, बुझी को राग कहते हैं, जो आग से निकले उसे विश्वनाथ कहते हैं. Like this is a very old dialogue given by the Shatrughan Sinha. I am not remember the movie name.
I mean, it's absolutely fine. Even I don't think so everyone can connect with this dialogue because few of the people are connecting from the different country as well. Hi, Vasilis, how are you? Okay, who can go next? Kitika, can you go next for your quick intro? And it would be great if you can switch on your video.
So, hi everyone, myself Kitika. I'm just working as a QA in Srijan organization. So recently I have just completed the Scrum certification and I want to move into the Scrum management. So due to XY reasons, I am not, professionally, or you can say like in a company, I'm not able to, switch to the Scrum management profile. So just to brush up all these skills again, when I got just seen the message on the LinkedIn, so that's the reason I have just again joined that group. And apart from that, for funny things, seriously, I don't remember the current moment. I was just thinking about what to say, not exactly in the mind. That's all.
No, just take your time. We can move to Vasil. Hi, Vasil.
Hi, man. Yeah, I'm not at home yet. I thought that is later in the day. I'm a software developer. I worked over time in multiple Scrum teams. I have a Agile Scrum certification, and I like to maybe in the future change my direction from software development maybe to agile coach, or I don't know. I'm not sure what will come, but I'm interested in understanding and practicing very well the agile methodology. Yeah, and I saw the LinkedIn post, and I said I will meet people, and I will see what's coming from here. That's pretty much it on my end. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Vasil. And there is a third question. Oh, that's the format of the intro. You have to tell from where you are. So from where you are.
No, I worked for if you are asking me about this for capital
No, you
management.
can just share your city or country name. That's absolutely fine. From where you are joining.
So I'm joining from Romania. Is
Romania.
East Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then second question you already answered, that the intent of joining this. So you really want to looking something on the Scrum Master Agile Coach profile. That's another area.
Yeah.
And the third question is you have to make any funny face or any funny dialogue from any of your favorite movies. So you have to do that anything which you like.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know right now, but yeah, I will see later if.
No issues.
Yeah.
We will make sure before we are closing this call, you will think something. Okay.
Yes, yeah, and especially one last thing, I'm interested in having this role as a contractor. I don't want to be employed to one company with permanent contract. I want to hire rates, maybe with some insecurity, but this is my way of doing now software development, and I want to do the same something on Agile. Yeah,
It's absolutely fine. See, whatever roles you are playing, if you're going through with these trainings and if you get to know how the Agile is working, as I said in the previous sessions, these things are not only helping in your professional career, but even these things you can introduce and in your personal career as well. So no matter if you are coming from the technical background, you're coming from a IT background, non-IT background, if you're going and understand these concepts, so that's the beauty of the Agile. You can easily implement in your current infrastructure, whatever role you are playing, whatever kind of a industry you're working, it's everywhere. It's well suited, right? So that's the advantage. See, we are already spent our 13 minutes. So let me quickly start with our same mural. I hope you all have the access. Whoever joined first time, I'm sharing in the chat. You can just quickly open this link and you will also get the access of the mural. How many of you already aware of the basics of the Scrum framework? You all know, right? Even Kitika, Vasil, and Shabana, you joined first time, but you're also aware of how the Scrum is working, right? What's the basic of the Scrum framework? Okay, so what we will do is, we will start with a quick exercise. I'm moving you guys into 3 breakouts because we are almost, no, I will move you in 2 breakouts because we are total 7 here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 and 3. I will move you guys into 2 breakout. And then what you have to do it, if you can see, let me quickly share my screen. Okay, so this is the section team 1 and team 2. We are not going and working in the team 3 right now because I'm only moving to 2 breakouts. You will only get 5 minutes. And in the next 5 minutes, and anyone from your team have to just move these roles where these roles are fits. So this is a blank Scrum framework. You have to put where this particular role fits in and where is these official events we can put. And then these are the 3 artifacts. Where are the 3 artifacts we can put? And then the inspection point. where we can put the inspection point. So we have 3 inspection points, 3 artifacts, few official events, and then the roles, what roles we have. So what you have to do is you have to just drag and drop where you think this particular sticky should be more suitable. And you have to do it with the discussion with your team, right? So team 1 will only focus on this section. Same team 2 will be focusing on this section. You don't have to move this. The reason is behind this, we will have the actual answers. So once you guys have finished your activity, then we will remove it and then we will match where you put and what's the expectations. Okay, I hope everyone cleared the instructions. Let me quickly stop share. Okay, and you all have the access. Basically, we only need two people from each group. And now I am moving you guys into the breakout room. Just give me a second. Let me quickly create. I'm manually assigning the room.
I'm not able to see that. Where is it exactly?
This link, I put it into the Teams. Sorry, into the chat.
Yeah, I clicked on it and I was redirected to the original screen, which was shared earlier.
This one? I mean, link is still same. I think you are only seeing this part.
What slide is this one?
This you can see. Okay, sorry, I didn't share my screen, so that's why you might be confused. Okay, let me do it. Okay, so this is the whole mural.
Okay.
This part we use in last workshop. Now I'm talking about this right side.
Okay. I have to scroll.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. So how you can do is you just need to left click and just continue press your left click and then you can move this out. And your mouse scroll, you can do it for zoom in and zoom out. Then how it works.
Yeah. I can access the section.
And don't remove this for the answers. That's a request.
Right. Yeah.
So don't remove this for the answers. Okay, I'm creating the breakout room. And I'm assigning the participants as well. So okay, these 3 will be here. And these 4 will be here. Just give me a second. Okay, it's fine. So 3 and 4, 2. I think someone broke the call. No issues. I open the room, so you can just join the room. Sandeep, Vessel, can you join the room 1? Vasil, you are still in the main room. Can you join the room 1? Vasil, can you hear me? You only have 2 minutes. Sorry, 5 minutes. 4 minutes left. If you have any queries, what we will do is we can connect next time, and then we will discuss why. If you think the answers are not correct and they should be at the different places, so you can just go through, do that, and then we'll discuss. Okay, let's move. I will move to the next topic. Let me quickly share my screen.
इनको डिफरेंस पूछ लेना इसका डिफरेंस ठीक है हाँ डिफरेंस बिटवीन स्टेट ऑफ मैटर्स ठीक है
Yes, so this was the part. Last time what we did is we discussed about the agile, what is agile, what are the different pillars, what are the different manifestos we have. Principles I left for you guys to go and understand. If you have any queries, just let me know. We can discuss. So if any one of you have any, if you really want to understand the principles in the last 30 minutes, if we don't have any queries, then we can spend the time and we will go in deeper about the principles. Then we talk about what is the difference between waterfall and agile and why the agile is more beneficiary. Then we talk about this incremental, if we are doing the incremental in waterfall and the incremental in the agile. So what's the difference and why the agile is more beneficiary, that we also discussed. Okay, then this was the topic which we said we will discuss next time. So what we will do today is we will go in the deep dive about the Scrum and Kanban. What is Scrum, what is Kanban, where we will going to use it. And then the safe part, we will do it later, not right now. And then we will deep dive. I hope you all gone through with the videos which I shared in the last week, right? So those are related to the refinements, then daily Scrum calls. Then after that, third was sprint planning. Then we have sprint review and the retrospective. So what we will do is today we will go deep dive, understand each of these ceremonies. That is the main goal of today's session. Before that, you all worked, even whoever joined first time, you all worked, right? So you know what is the difference between waterfall and agile. Now what we are doing is we are again going to do a quick exercise here. This time I will move the stickies. You guys have to tell me where I can put it. If this particular statement is more aligned toward the waterfall, just let me know. I will put it on the near waterfall. If you think that thing is somewhere between in the waterfall and agile, I will put in the middle. If you think that particular item is more convenient if we are doing in an agile way, then I will put it in the right side. I hope it's clear to all of you. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are.
Can you zoom a bit? Yeah, I think that's
okay.
fine.
So building a car, can we do it in more agile way, or can we do it in more waterfall way? What is where this should be stand?
Agile.
Based on your previous experience, example of Rolls-Royce, obviously everybody should be saying agile.
No, that was different example of the Rolls-Royce. That was not that's the exception how the Rolls-Royce is doing. In the general, 90% of car industry is not working in agile way. So they are working in a waterfall. So this will be more towards even it's not completely waterfall, but it's somewhere near to it.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I will tell you why. When any organizations, any automobile organizations, when they are building, what they are doing is they are just first building the prototype, and then they are launching the designs of that particular new car. And once they get the feedback on those designs, then they are moving into the next phase of requirement gatherings and detailing. Then they are moving into the development where they're building the parts of the car. Then they assemble the whole car, and you might only see the actual car after a year or two, or sometimes 5 years of their announcement, right? So that's really not an agile. That's an waterfall where they launch something, and after launching, when they are delivering, they took 5 years. And in the 5 years, there might be 100 different cars are already launched by the competitors. So that's why the building a car is in a more waterfall tradition kind of a approach, not an agile. Okay, where is this? Building in a mobile application.
Agile.
Agile,
Agile.
agile.
Yes, this is in a more agile. Making a sand castle.
More bit of waterfall, because you have to set up the base first and then decide which uh, part of the castle you want to build next, and whatever we want to build on top of it. So base needs to be there.
It's more or more waterfall.
It's a more waterfall
Yes,
because you
it's
have to
more
set
and more. Yeah.
you have to set the base, like
Yes.
incremental. It's very incremental.
Yes. I mean, you can't take a feedback of the base of the castle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're building a sand castle, that's only for the fun.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a more waterfall. Once you clear the step one, you clear the base, then you're moving into the second step. You're thinking of the outside wall. Then you're trying to build some windows and the gates and designs and stuff. So that's a more waterfall. Where is this making a delicious sauce?
Agile.
Mid, I can say mid.
Yeah, it should be agile because
There are some
we have to
changes.
taste it, like how it's going on.
So where I should put it? Here, middle.
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 Why it should be in the middle?
See, you know the ingredients and you know the sequence, but for the taste of the sauce, you have to constantly
Going on
taste it.
testing.
You have to taste it, and then you have to refine the
Refine.
quantity probably of each item that you are putting it. But the sequence never change because it's a recipe. You can't change the recipe, how the items are supposed to be added in the recipe. You can just change the quantity as per the requirement.
Yes. So basically, we are building a delicious sauce. Anything which is delicious and which is very like precious, important, or eye-catching, those things are taking multiple attempts, right? You can't build a delicious soap in your first attempt. So that's why it's a more not fully agile, it's toward the agile kind of a stuff. Okay, baking a cake.
It's similar.
I think it's a waterfall, I guess.
Yeah,
It's a
waterfall.
waterfall.
Yes, it's a waterfall. You are not when you're thinking to build a cake, you are not doing in a five times or 10 times or 20 times,
No.
right? You're just building a one, so you're more careful. So you're going with the waterfall tradition, right? Okay,
Waterfall.
building a pyramid.
Same
Waterfall.
as waterfall.
This is also an waterfall. Putting together IKEA furnitures.
Waterfall.
Putting together. You're not building and you're putting together IKEA furniture.
It should be agile.
Agile.
Yeah, we are adding like
agile because
there can constant changes will be there. So like if I feel it's not good, I'll change and I'll replace and like that.
yeah, suppose you put your sofas in front of the TV and your dining tables on the left, then you invited to few guests, and those guests no, it's not the good setup. Can you do one thing? Can you just change your this dining table from left to right and something? So you're getting feedback, and then you are again reassembling. You're doing the changes. So you are getting continuous feedback, and then it's not each and every time you need an external for the feedback. Sometimes you also realize when you're doing your day-to-day work, right? Then you realize this is not the perfect place for this particular furniture. So this should be in this particular corner of the room or something. Building a website. It's a waterfall, right?
Agile.
No, agile.
Agile.
It should be agile.
Should I put it here? Should I put it here? Where should I put it?
Like
Agile.
It's agile.
I would suggest that not completely agile. Like in my opinion, it's towards the agile, but it has a waterfall involved, because there are prerequisites involved in website, the domain and the server and the templating and everything. Then only you can, then once you have a first draft ready, then only you get your customer feedback, and then things started changing. But there are certain prerequisites related to website that you cannot let go. So for me, I believe that it is agile, towards agile, but there is a part which is waterfall. That's
I feel like designing stuff, they should come into agile, because designing is like you have to showcase to your client sometime and he'll share some feedback at the time. You change something.
We can build a website in purely waterfall.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Yes, we can. We can.
A website in purely an agile way as well, where you really want to prefer. So the intent of this exercise is not what is perfect. The intent of this exercise is what
Towards.
you think, what is your thoughts, how we should build this particular item in a more agile way or in a more waterfall. Okay.
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
Hybrid
So
mode.
there is nothing wrong if I'm putting it here, and even
Yeah.
it's nothing wrong if I'm putting it here, right? The
Yes.
only way is where you feel this is more suitable at near to agile or near to waterfall. That's the whole understanding, right? So that's
You can
what
put in
we
a
are
hybrid
going
mode.
to-
I think
Yeah.
it's moreover depends on the customers who
Customer
is
requirement.
on the building right which process he wants. Like in an incremental way, he wants to see his website, or he wants like how much part has been done, or completely he wants to look around that complete website. It totally depends on the customer need. Then after we can put it in a either agile or a waterfall, as per my.
I think we can put it in a hybrid mode because this website, development website depend on both customer and developer perspective. Many developers, so many already develop designs and make changes as per client requirements. So we can put in hybrid mode in medium, towards agile.
Yeah. See, we all have our own different opinions, and then the reason is because we all have a different kind of experience in our IT journey, right? So that's why I'm saying, even I'm putting on this side and that side, everything is perfect. That's the ways how you prefer to do that. Let's say I'm saying, Savana, you are the owner of this particular website. I'm your customer. I need this website in next 6 months. Okay. Now I don't care how you want to build it, but I need the final website after 6 months. Then it's your call how you want to build it. You want to build it in waterfall, that's absolutely fine for me. If you really want to build in agile, you really want to give me the demo in every 15 minutes, that's also fine for me. Because as a customer, my primary focus is toward the outcome. I need the website in 6 months. So that I mean, if you are saying it's customers, no, it's not completely depend on the customers. It depends how we are pitching is a thing. So when suppose in your journey after 5 years or 10 years, when you're really going in and playing any leadership role, where you pitching your clients, right? So it depends how you really want to pitch. You will not give the customer how you want to do it. You will say, this is the way how we are working. We are working in agile way. If you choose us to build your product or your website, these, if we are building in agile, we will give you these kind of benefits. We can showcase you the progress in every 15 days. We can give you the outcome, and you can also do a hands-on on your product after every release, which we are planning in might be every month or every 2 months, whatever is the release cycle. The second side, if you're pitching your customer towards the more waterfall tradition, you will say, it's fine, you just tell me when you really want your website. I will give you a guarantee within 6 months. I will complete your product and I will give you on this particular date, which is today plus 6 months. It could be like end of the year or something. So, okay, on this date, I will give you the product. Now, how you are approaching your customer, that depends on your mindset, which mindset you are building, right? So that's why I'm saying it's totally fine where you want to put it, but how you want to approach the things, because this workshop is mainly towards from the Scrum Master roles. Scrum Masters are having the freedom to choose the processes. You might not get the freedom to choose either you want to implement the Scrum or you want to choose the Kanban or say, definitely those things comes from the organization or from the project leadership team. But once you are onboarded, then a lot of things from the process side is driven by the Scrum Masters. If what kind of process you have to build. So that's why we did this exercise to just check what is more aligned with your expectations. Now let's do one thing. We will move to understand this Scrum and Kanban. How many of you did not hear anything about Kanban or Scrum? Is any of these words is completely new for you, or you already worked in both the frameworks?
Chetan, I worked a little bit. I'm not sure like how it was. Like I was in one one team where I was doing this triage and debug thing. So it was like continuous. There will be task, and it was never ending. Kanban, if I'm not wrong. So there was a board. We used to have this sticky notes. We have to write the details, and like we have to move like in the like to do in progress, and like so it was like continuous progress. So I was there for like 3 to 6 months. That's it.
So if I will ask any one of you, which is better in Scrum or in Kanban, which one is better?
Yathan, I think it's depend upon organization requirement.
I think Kanban is for visualization primarily, and Scrum is the process. So they go both hand in hand, I guess. There is no they are like it's like now when you ask somebody ki what is the difference between SQL and DBMS, and they get confused, right? So I believe that
see, I don't know. I'm just asking which is better, Scrum or Kanban? Anyone else have any thoughts? Which is better?
even this is my
There is
understanding.
no correct answer of which is better. It's purely based on the need.
Yeah, for me, like if the projects are related to support, then there's continuous flow of tickets, then we can go for the Kanban. And if
Yes.
the project is
So
like
this is the answer. I mean, as a Scrum Master, you should understand what is the requirement and which thing is more suitable. Either it's Kanban or Scrum or Safe or LESS or Spotify. Right? We have 30 different kind of frameworks, and sometimes people say Scrum is better than the Kanban, Safe is better than the Scrum. No, it depends what is the current need of your project or of your program. Accordingly, you will choose it. Now, to get an idea which one at what situations we have to choose, I will tell you. Kanban is more suitable where we have support kind of a products, where we have our requirements are changing very frequently. When I say the very frequently, that means might be in a day you will get 3 different requirements. Like today you get 3 different requirements, you prioritize your backlog and you start working on those 3. And tomorrow morning when you start your laptop, you will see there is another 3 requirements. Then next day you again prioritize the top 3, and then next day you will get another 3, another 5, another 7. So when you have these kind of uncertainties where you can't plan your at least a week or 2 weeks of work, so you can't get a success in Safe, in Scrum, in LESS or Spotify. You will only get the success in these kind of situations as Kanban. And what's the benefit we will get in the Kanban? Because our to-do list, we can prioritize at any point of time. Suppose we are working, so today in our to-do list, we have 10 items and top 3 are the critical one. You start working on that and the total time to complete those 3 items is 4 days. Now on the second day, there is another high priority items comes, and generally these kind of things are coming when your product is already on the production. You already have some consumers or customers who are using your applications. So let's take an example of Amazon, Flipkart, or like Walmart, any of these websites where every day they are facing different kind of scenarios and situations. So they can't wait for 2 weeks. Okay, if this is the issue, we will put it this particular requirement in the next sprint, and then we will pick it in after 2 weeks, and then we will release it after a month. No, sometimes we can't work. So that's why Kanban is the best for the projects where we have a lot of uncertainty. We can't plan the work for a shorter time of period. Now, what benefit we will get from Scrum and where Scrum is more suitable? In these kind of things, you can still use the Scrum, but the only thing is you will have your daily scope changes. Now, Scrum is the framework which is more suitable when you have complex program or projects. The complex project means you have to build a drone and you don't know how to build the drone, but you only know the high level prototype. So what you can do is you can at least initiate that. You can at least initiate working on the designing and the architect of the drone. And in the meanwhile, you're working on those things. That means the next 2 weeks or next 1 month or next 2 months, you will get to know the other unknowns areas, because this particular program is very complex. So where our requirements are very uncertain, we don't know which is the best suitable requirement, where the complexity is very high, the Scrum is the best suitable framework, because you don't need to plan the whole project of 6 months, 8 months, and then 10 months. If you can only plan for the next 2 weeks or next 1 month of work, that's sufficient for the according to the Scrum. And in the meanwhile, you are delivering those 2 weeks or 4 weeks of work. You parallelly you are working to the groom your next sprint items. So that's in these kind of a complex projects, Scrum is more suitable. Now the third one is safe. So if projects are really suitable to work in this Scrum and the Kanban, then why we really need the third framework? Why we are not only stick to these two? Now the SAFe and LESS, these are the large enterprise scale program. Let's take an example of Instagram or Facebook. They have a single page application, right? You will get everything on a single page. If I'm talking of the Instagram. Now on the single page, there are 50 or might be 100 different features, right? So there are 100 different teams who are taking care of each particular area of that single page application. Now, if they are only working in Scrum, it's very tough to synchronize between them. So where we have these kind of a programs or projects where we have a very big team size, like 50s, 70s, 100, thousands, and they all are working on same application where the coordination is very important. Let's take an example of Instagram. I'm not using too much Instagram, so I don't know. So I can do some mistakes as well. In the Instagram, we have a section of reel. We have a section of to upload a video or a photos. Now under that, we have an option of like and I think we only have the option of like and I don't know if
Share and follow.
Yeah, share and follows and stuff, right? So we have the share and follows and stuff in reels. The same feature we have in photos, and I think same features we have in the small videos as well. So there might be a same team who's working on all these 3 features of the share and link. But there are different teams who are taking care of the reel part. There are different teams who's taking care of the video part, and there is a separate team who's taking care of the other type of content. So that means we need coordinations. So where we have these kind of programs where 100 or thousands people are working and we need a coordinations, so we are choosing SAFe or LESS. Now, when we're talking about the in-depth about the SAFe and LESS, then you will get to know how these kind of how it's different from the Scrum and how is it more suitable only on the large scale of the programs. Okay, so now what we will do is, okay, before that, anyone have any queries on Scrum, difference between Scrum, Kanban, and SAFe? Why we are using, where we are using?
I have a question. So Scrum helps with the ceremonies and everything, and at the end of the day, development team is aware of what they are supposed to build, right? But the team who has to see the task, they are on their Kanban board, right? They are using Kanban board to pick tasks in that 2-week sprint. So Scrum and Kanban goes together, right? There's no I want to understand that in an organization uses both Scrum and Kanban when they're working on a smaller project and they want to release a fully accepted product, part of a product in every sprint, right? So the ceremonies are happening separately, the backlog planning, the refinement and everything, and sprint planning and everything, and daily Scrum is happening, but the development team is using Kanban board like for their own day-to-day task, right? So is this understanding of mine is correct, or there is a bifurcation?
So why they really need a separate Kanban board? If they are doing the Scrum, why they are not managing everything in the Scrum board? Because we have the same similar to do in progress done in the Scrum as well. So why they're using Kanban?
As in because product backlog stays in the backlog section only, right? During the sprint planning, we discuss the tasks that are high priority and need to be part of the sprint, right? In the sprint, we decide, okay, we are going to pick 10 tasks for the next 2 week sprint. But
Okay.
then, when the developers are looking at their own task, they see their because they're independent tasks, because a backend developer is working on the backend task and the front end
Yeah,
developer
but
is working on the
those tasks should
front
be
end task.
part of those 10 items, right?
Yeah, they are part of those 10
Mhm.
items. I'm just saying that for a development team, don't you think looking at a Kanban board makes more easy and convenient for them to know, okay, what is pending, what is in progress, and
What we are doing is we are just making things complex here. If we
okay.
are putting things in the Scrum board, Streamline is same. In the Kanban, what we have the same to do in progress. There might be QA or code review or acceptance and then done. Same thing we have on Scrum board as well. We can modify on the basis of things. So why we need to do different? But there are some certain scenarios where we are using both the Kanban and Scrum. Safe is one of the examples where we are using Kanban and the Scrum. And even within the Scrum framework, where the team is working in the Scrum, we are still having a Kanban board. But the audience of that Kanban board is totally different. I will explain you how the thing is.
Okay.
You have a product backlog where you have 1000 items in your backlog, and your team is already working on the sprint and they can only take 10 items. So they are working on the 10 items. Now there are 999 items in your backlog, right? Now, how your business team prioritizing item for the next sprint? So they are using separate Kanban board where the product owner, business analyst, stakeholders, what they are doing is they are in their Kanban board, they have, okay, backlog, what is need to refine, what is need discussion. The next swim lane is ready for
Sprint
the
planning.
refinement. Yeah, ready for the refinement or ready for the development. So they have the Kanban board where they're putting the items, and once the things are in the ready for the development, the next sprint planning when the team is doing, they're only focusing on the items which is in ready for the development. So instead of the 1000, now they might have only 30 items, and they have to 10 items. They have to choose 10 items out of 30, not out of 1000. So to make the team's life easier, generally we are using Kanban and Scrum, both the boards, but the audience is different.
Okay.
Right? That's the one scenario. Now the second scenario, where the same team member are using both Scrum board and the Kanban board. It's a complex kind of a structure, but couple of organizations are still doing. Now what they are doing is they're saying the team is working in Scrum, but the 30% of team's capacity we are reserving for the production issues. So with their 70% of capacity, the team is focusing on the regular development, while if there is anything comes on the production and issues, their 30% of their time, they will be focusing on that part. Now, those production issues are not ready before the sprint planning. That's the thing which come anytime on those 2 weeks. So for that thing, they're using a separate Kanban board. They will say, okay, we will put these things in the Kanban board and we will quickly, because we have an ETA for the production issues. We have to, if there's something which is very critical, we have to, deliver within a day. That depends on the different kind of programs. Sometimes the ETA is in hours, sometimes the ETA is in days, sometimes the ETA is in weeks as well. So that depends. So in this scenario too, we can also use a Kanban and the Scrum both. Now, in today's world, there is a new term comes which says Scrum-Bun, which is a combination of Scrum and Kanban. So basically, there is no real framework exists with this name. The only thing is few very intelligent people, they just made it. So they just pick something from the Scrum, they pick something from the Kanban, they put it together, and they will say, now we are Scrum-Bun. So when we have these kind of things, see at the end, whatever is working with your team, whatever you are delivering is improving your goals, your quarterly goals is really fine with the team. So there is no priority of choosing any specific framework. There is no priority of always denying and going in arguments like why we are using Kanban. This is an Scrum. Scrum is more suitable. Why we are not using Scrum? So there is no argument unless your team is delivering. That's absolutely fine. You can use whatever is best suitable. Okay. So this is about the Scrum in Kanban. Anyone have any other queries, or should we move to the next page?
I have one example just to share that for using Scrum and Kanban together. So I think some BAs use both the boards. Like they sometimes actually it's happened in a project I have seen like that. They have a sprint planning board, right? Sorry, product backlog. Then they have a sprint board, which is, and there they have one more board which is a planning board. Like whatsoever the client requirement is there, once when they people identify the things which should be lined up after this item, or ideally you can say that how the product owner and the client together prioritize their items. So they keep one board which is not shown to the directly to the everyone, and that is they keep a separate board where only things were there like to do and in progress. So from there they people move these things to the sprint board. Sprint board, you can say in a simple way, the current sprint, like sprint 1, sprint 2, which is ongoing.
Yeah. Anyone else want to any other scenarios? I mean, see, we have 100 of different scenarios where we can put it. I will tell you one more thing. We are using a Kanban board for our retro action items. So once we are done with our retro, whatever action items we have a separate Kanban board. We are putting all those action items in that Kanban board, and we'll make sure we will have a continuous improvement. So we have only 4 swim lanes. First is to do of the action items, then in progress of the action items, and then the done. Or it could be anything. It could be, let's say, the CI/CD setup of our program, of our project. This is one of the action items we get in the retrospective. And is it really in progress or is it done? So you can use a separate Kanban mode for that. Kanban mode is only the things, and the best example which I gave in our last sessions, where I'm using a Kanban mode on my fridge to just make sure my day-to-day hustle is on track. If I have 10 meetings, I'm putting everything in the to-do. If I have to purchase few groceries for my home, I'm putting things is those things are in to-do or in progress and done. So no matter where is more suitable, you can use it. The Kanban is the best and easiest framework which is fits in any of the development.
I think Chetan, it depends upon our need requirement. We can use Scrum or Kanban as per our requirement or.
Yes. So now what we are going to discuss what we decide in our first video. What was the first video? If you guys already gone through.
Introduction to the Scrum. That was the first video.
Okay. What was the second video?
Second video was about the product backlog refinement.
Okay.
Then the sprint planning, then daily sprint Scrum, and then sprint review meeting. Yeah.
So next 20 minutes we will talk about the product backlog refinement. I just shared a new mural link.
New is this the new one?
Yeah, it's the new mural link.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let me quickly share my screen as well, and then in the parallel you can also do. I hope you all can access. Okay. How many of you already watched the video of backlog refinement? Can anyone summarize in 10 seconds? What is the goal of the backlog refinement?
Like you mentioned in the previous example, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, like you mentioned in the previous example, in that if you have 10,000 of uh, PBIs in your backlog, then you would want to pick one which is the highest priority and divide it into doable tasks basically, so that in the next step when you are doing the sprint planning for the development team, you know that the high level task that was part of the backlog is can be done, and these are the specific tasks related to that main task. So the
Okay.
backlog refinement is
Yes.
you uh, identify what is the highest rated task that you want to be done immediately by your team.
What Scrum suggests, what's the actual duration of the backlog refinement?
I think
Anyone?
4 hours, 2 hours or 4 hours, I guess. There was, yeah, there was a time. There was a time.
4 hours.
Time, I know. 4 hours,
For
I
2
guess.
weeks.
For 2 weeks, it's 4 hours. For for a month, it's a day.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think same, like 2 hours for 1 week, for
Okay.
a month, it's 1 day.
The real answer is 0.
Okay.
Because according to Scrum, there is no ceremony backlog refinement. If you go through, Scrum says there is no ceremony of backlog refinement. Scrum says there is only sprint planning, which is for 4 hours. Right?
Product backlog refinement was there. It was a 15-17 minutes video, but yeah, you're right.
No,
The
no, 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 no.
estimate was not it.
Yes.
And there was no
If
there
yeah,
was
that's
no
an
block
interview question.
because
That's an
yeah.
interview question.
Okay.
What Scrum suggests? Scrum there is no suggestion from Scrum about the backlog refinement. Scrum suggests we have a 4 hours of sprint planning where we will do the backlog refinement as an activity of the ceremony of sprint planning. So there is no separate ceremony. There is an activity of backlog refinement as part of the sprint planning. But if we are doing an 4 hour of meeting, I'm talking about the practical scenarios, right? Suppose you all are sitting for a 4 hours on the day 1 of your sprint, and now you have to say, okay, you have to refine your backlog, and you have to estimate, you have to prioritize, and then you have to start your sprint. Is it more feasible, or you will break down your 4 hours of sprint planning in 2 hours of 2 meetings, or 1.5 and 1.5 hours of 2 meetings, and the remaining 1 hour of third meeting? And then we are doing those in a different intervals. So generally, that is more convenient. I will tell you how. Suppose today is Saturday, and next coming Monday, you have your day 1 of the sprint. You prioritize something, you start working on something. Now your next sprint is after 2 weeks. And if you reserve your 1 hour of 2 sessions in every week, and you're calling them as a backlog refinement ceremonies, right? You can do that. Now, if you're doing 2 hours of meeting in the advance, 2 weeks advance, what benefit you will get? Let's take an example. On day 1 of the next sprint, you start your sprint and you spend 1 hour for your next sprint items. You discuss 2 stories, and then you identify there is some piece of requirement is missing. There is some technical information is missing. What you will do is, okay, we can't refine this story because we need these kind of information. So what you will do now, your BA or your product owner, when you're meeting next time, that means after a week, again, we have a second refinement in the second week. They will go through, they will try to get the answers of those queries. And when we are doing our next refinement meeting, which is scheduled for another week, they definitely have the answers. They might be discussing with the stakeholders, they might be discussing with some technical architect, they might be discussing with some other product owners. They will get the answers. And when you are meeting in your next refinement, you will have those answers. And that's how, and now then you have another 1 hour of sprint planning. So when you're actually moving in your sprint planning meeting, before that, you already did 2 sessions, you have the most of the answers. But if we are working in the old framework where we have 1 4 hour of a meeting, and suppose you start with one story, then you says, okay, we need these informations. These are the design information is missing. Your product owner cannot fix those things within the same meeting or within the duration of 4 hours. Then what they will say, it's fine. Then do one thing, move this story for the next sprint. We will pick something else. So that's why we are doing 2 different backlog refinements before our sprint planning meeting, because we get additional benefit. We will get additional time to prepare a better backlog for our sprint planning. So that's the same exercise we will do. So that was the question, how we will do it. Generally, it comes in the interviews. Now, the second question which comes is, who will lead the backlog refinement? Who is the real owner of the backlog refinement?
I think product owner.
What Scrum Master do? What's the role of Scrum Master in the backlog refinement?
I think they ask and discuss within the team that whatever is the product owner is asking, what are the requirements basically, and if that is feasible within the 2-week sprint, if they are working on 2-week sprint.
So what Scrum Master do? That's a discussion between team and product owner. Product owner says this is the requirement. Team says, can we finish it in the 2 weeks, or it will take more than 2 weeks. So if it take more than 2 weeks, then definitely we have to break down into the smaller parts so that we can do it. Then what Scrum Master will do?
Help the product owner prioritize. Ask constantly, like what is your priority, that once the breakdown
but that
happens.
Team can also do that, right?
But
why we need a Scrum Master to just ask the question, what is your priority?
If a product owner is talking to so many team members, the conversation might get haywire. So we need a mitigator in between, maybe.
No.
No. Okay.
No. That's why we are just misunderstood the roles of the Scrum Master. So that's the part which we will do in our next workshop. We will deep dive in do's and don'ts of the Scrum Masters and the product owner both, right? So before that, what's the role of a Scrum Master in the backlog refinement is to make sure the whole team, including the product owner and the development team, are focused on the goal or the agenda of the refinement meeting. Now, what is the agenda of the refinement meeting is to refine the backlog and make sure the item is estimated. That's the goal. So the Scrum Master's only agenda is to make sure the whole team is stick to the goal. Sometimes I will tell you, when practically we are doing the refinement, sometimes we reserve the meeting for an hour and the whole team is stick and only discuss one story for an hour. And even after an hour, there is no conclusion because they went too deep to discuss about the requirement. They went inside, okay, is it the implementation? Can we use Java? If you're using the Java, which version of Java is more suitable? If you're using an API, which API is more suitable? Which version we can do that? So when you're going in too depth in the technical and implementation phase, we need someone who can just pull back the whole team. So that's the expectation we have from the Scrum Master, to make sure your team is not deviating from the goal of the refinement meeting. Right? So now the role of the Scrum Master is make sure your team is active. It's not like that your product owner is talking for an hour and then at the end say, okay, I hope guys, now you know what we have to do is, now can you give me an estimate? So if one person is talking for an hour, then the rest of the people, either they are switching off their video and they're playing with their mobile, or they will be multitasking, which is the main problem right now we are facing when we all are connecting virtually. People are really actual developers. What they were doing is they're connecting the meeting, they're turning off their videos, and they are doing their actual work, the development. And then when any one of the team member or product owner asks, okay, can you just tell me what is the technical approach we are using here? The same developer says, oh, okay, I lost. Can you just repeat what you said? What was your question? So these kind of feedbacks we are having. So that's why we need a Scrum Master to make sure we all are actively participating and all are actively contributing in the backlog refinement. It's not only a product owner's responsibility. It's not only a Scrum Master responsibility. It's a responsibility of the whole team. When we say the whole team, that includes product owners, Scrum Master, and the development team, including architect, including a junior developer and intern as well. Everyone is equally liable to estimate something. So those are the expectations we have from the Scrum Master during the refinement. Now, if you can see my screen, this is how we should start the refinement meeting. The reason is when we are doing the refinement meeting, and if your team is not focused, then the outcome of the refinement meeting will be very less, or it could be a 0. So generally, what we are doing is when we are meeting for the backlog refinement, we will just ask very quick questions. How you guys are feeling? Can we focus on the refinement of the next sprint? If you guys are really stuck on some critical important work of the sprint, if you can't focus, just let us know. We can either do it some other time, or we will do some other different ways. Now, what are the different ways? I will tell you an example. See, these are the real-time examples which you can use when you are doing it. Let's take an example. You're refining one backend story, whatever backend technology you guys are using, and you don't need a front-end developer in that particular refinement, right? So what you can do is you can ask your front-end team member. You can feel free to drop the code because we don't need you in this particular refinement. What we are doing is we are giving them more time to focus on their sprint work, and they will be more productive. If you're asking, no, it's a 1-hour meeting, everyone should be there, whole team should be part of the refinement, and if everyone is sitting idle, there is no value. So those kind of things, as a Scrum Masters, we have to be actively taking care of. So that's the energy check of, do we really need each and everyone in that particular meeting? If we are only going to discuss the 3 backend stories for today's refinement, we can ask the rest of the team members, we don't need your inputs, you can only focus on your work, and let's quickly align and do that. So that's the check we have. Then this is the important part. So this is the breakdown what we have. This is the important part of the stories. What I will do is we will quickly review the backlog, whatever items we have in the backlog. We will put a time of 10 minutes on each item. And the target is, if we are unable to contribute something in 10 minutes, then we will not waste the time of whole team. What we will do is we will park that particular item for the later stage, and we will move to the next item. So that time box is very important. We have 1 hour of meeting or 1.5 hour of meeting, but it doesn't mean you are spending 45 minutes on one item. No, we have to discuss 5 items. Suppose if your PO says, I have 5 items which we have to do and discuss in the refinement, let's do, and time box 10 minutes. If we couldn't conclude, sometimes we couldn't conclude because we need there are a lot of unknowns. We need couple of inputs from the different team members, or sometimes some third party as well. And one of the example is when let's say you're integrating some kind of a third party payment options or API options, and you don't know the information. So you can't give the estimates. So how you will do in this scenario? You will ask your product owner, okay, we can't estimate the stories. Can we set up another meeting with some different architect who's actually having, or some different team member who's actually having the implementation experience? We will discuss with that person first in a separate meeting, and then we might be in a better stage where we can estimate. So instead of spending 10 minutes, we conclude the story in 1 minute. We can't estimate. What is the action item for that story? We need an additional discussion with some SMEs, subject matter expert on the API development. That's the action item. Now it's a product owner's responsibility to make sure, identify the subject matter expert and try to set up a discussion with them. And we will quickly move to the next item for the refinement. So that's the important part we are doing and breaking down the issues. And then this is the removing part, which is also an important part, because sometimes if your backlog is a 6-month-old backlog or a 1-year-old backlog, you might feel 30% of the backlog is useless. And the reason is might be the requirement is completely changed, or might be those things are already implemented in a different way, in a different stories. So each and every time we have to be at least reserve some 5 minutes and 10 minutes to look into the things which is not relevant. And these things come especially with the bugs. When our QAs are doing the testing, they are creating a lot of bugs which are always going into the backlog. And we are never prioritize those things until or unless those bugs are critical or breaking our application. So what we will do in these scenarios, we will try to make sure we will spend some 10 minutes, 15 minutes in every refinement to just go through with those bugs. And if some of the bugs are already fixed, we will mark them as a fix. And if some of the bugs are not valid, might be the design change. So we can mark them invalid and do that. So that's also the important part of the backlog refinement. Otherwise, your backlog will always expand in an inappropriate way. You might have today, you might have only 100 items. 3 months back, you might have 1,000 items. But out of 1,000, 300 items are not relevant. So that's also important. Now, why we are thinking why that's important? The reason is, with each project, with each program, we have a certain deadline when we have to finish it. If we are continuously, gradually increasing our product backlog, we can't give a high level estimate to our stakeholders when we can plan to finish this particular project, or at least the MVPs for the next release. Suppose you have 2 MVPs in the first quarter and the second quarter of the year. Are we really focused on those things? That's the also important part of backlog. Then the things comes as the next phase is prioritization. In this phase, the product owner is most important team member who's helping. Now let's say there are 10 items in the backlog, and after those 10, which is really more relevant for the next release, you're saying, okay, out of those 10, the first 5 are really relevant for our next release. It's fine. Now, after those 5, let's say you have 10 items here, which is in our backlog. Okay, but in the backlog out of 10, for next release, you only have 5 items. Now, in your next release in 1 month, now you have 5 items for next release. For the next sprint, do we really need to work on all 5? No. For next sprint, we only need to work on these 2 items. So this prioritization is really important. And it's not only the product owner's responsibility. Product owner is the ownership of the product owner to prioritize, but the product owner cannot do alone. The product owner also requires team members' support. How we can support the product owners? Might be those 5 items which are part of the next release. He can decide. But out of those 5, what are the 2 which we have to be taken to sprints? Team members are really important. Why they important? Because they can say, out of those 5, there are 3 items who are really dependent on these 2. So until or unless we are not finishing these 2 items in the next sprint, we can't start on the remaining 3. And those are the technical informations where product owners sometimes cannot identify. So here, that's why we need the whole team to prioritize and to help the problem. Now we say, okay, we have the 2 items for the next sprint. Let's only focus in the refinement in these 2 first. And suppose if you are done with these 2 items and you still have time in your refinement meeting, then you can pick any of the items from the remaining 3 so that you can plan better for the future. So this is the another important perspective of a team to do a better backlog refinement. Okay, now this is the another important part. How many of you already use planning poker? Can we quickly play a game here? Just give me a second. Just
Is this about everybody giving their own estimate about the story and
yes,
then getting to know why they estimated the story the way
yes.
that? Okay.
So we are going to do that exercise now. I shared in the chat. You all can join with your name. Just click on that link and enter your name. That's it. Okay, we can see Savana, Mukesh, Neha. Anyone else joining? Vasil, Kitika, Utkarsh, Sandeep, Nitin.
1 second, I will join.
Okay, it's fine. We can start. The rest can quickly do that. So this is the poker items. What we are doing is. Now let's take an example. I will tell you. We have to make a what example are there? We have to make an omelette. Okay, we have to make a bread omelette or simple omelette. Okay, without bread, you have to make an omelette. And let's say these are in terms of the minutes. Okay, so how many minutes you need to prepare a plain omelette? Okay, so you can choose. These are the minutes. For only the reference, these are the minutes. So you can just choose any of the card. How many minutes you need to prepare a omelette? You can just click any of the card which you can see on my screen.
Chetan,
We
in
are
that
able to
case,
click.
do you have any preconditions like you're doing it for the first time or you're an experienced person or how is it?
I don't know. I'm just asking how much time you need. That part we will discuss later.
Chetan, we are
Right
unable to
now,
click
there's a
the button.
requirement. You guys have to prepare an omelette and plain omelette. How many minutes you
Plain
need?
omelette. Okay, plain omelette.
Plain omelette. So how many minutes you need to finish that?
Chetan, I'm unable to click here.
Don't click on this show button. Okay,
No,
just only click on the tiles, the cards.
I'm not sure like whether my click accepted or not.
How should I change it if I want to change? Is there an option to change?
I mean, I don't think so. There is a configuration which I haven't. I just
Okay,
opened.
okay,
But
fine,
we can do
fine,
that.
fine.
I mean, it's fine. Whatever
fine.
purpose you choose, and don't click on show. I mean,
Chetan, I can't see my name here.
I mean, it's absolutely fine, Sandeep. You can just see how the thing is now. So everyone is give their own estimates, like how much time they need to prepare a plain omelette. Okay. Now, once I click on the show, I will see there's a difference. Someone says 20 minutes, someone says 3 minutes.
Who is cooking in 3 minutes?
Vasilius have an experience. He can cook a plain omelette in 3 minutes. Okay.
Nobody can cook a plain omelette in 3 minutes.
Now it's a question on you, Vasilius. How we will do it? You can send the recipe to them so that they will understand how you can cook in 3 minutes. I mean, I see. It's not about the questioning of the other person. That's why what we are doing right now. It's not about the question how you can do this in 3 minutes. I can only do it in 20 minutes, right? There might be the approach which you are taking, or there might be the resources what you have. You cannot prepare an omelette less than 20 minutes. And might be the resources, the experience, the knowledge, what Vasilius have, he can prepare the omelette in 3 minutes. So it's not necessarily it's required we all have the same numbers, right? That also depends. That was the answer of your question, Vinayak. Like, is it really necessary to you have some experience of the cooking, or you know how to know the recipe, how to prepare a plain omelette, or it doesn't require right now here, right? It only needs how much time you need to build this. Now, someone says 20, they might be because they never did it. They're doing first time. If someone says 3, the reason might be it's the daily routine. Every day they are cooking the omelette for themselves like 3 times in a day, and they know how much time they need, right? So that also depends. Now, as a team, how we can align? We can't say if now this is for the one item. Now let's say you guys have to build an 100 omelette in an 1 hour activity. You guys are participating in an event and you only get an 1 hour and you have to prepare 100 omelette. So how you can do it? You all are part of one team. So how you can build 100 omelettes in 1 hour? Because definitely Neha is taking 20 minutes to build in 1 omelette. So she can't cook 100 omelettes in 1 hour. But Vasilius, yeah, he can cook, right? If he's cooking 3 minutes, he's taking 3 minutes, or if he's working in multiple stoves at the same time, then he can do it. So what we will do is, as a team, we will try to understand what are the approach Vasilius is taking to make it ready in 3 minutes. And we will also try to understand why Shravan and Neha is taking 20 minutes. Okay, once we are aligning on the actual implementation approach, once the Vasilius shared how you guys can make it 3 minutes, you, after hearing his thought, you will say, okay, now we get it. But still, we feel it's not possible in 3 minutes, but we can say now after hearing the story, we can make it in 5 minutes or 8 minutes. So at least we have some kind of alignment. And now when you says you can build in 8 minutes, Vasilius is also says, yeah, I mean, I know you guys are doing first time. Okay, so it's not possible for you guys to build it in 3 minutes. Let's do one thing. We will mark it 5 minutes all of us. Now, what we did, we first gave our own estimates, then we discussed on the approach, how we are planning to implement this, and then we will aligning on some numbers. It's a mutual agreement. Yes, we can build in 5 minutes or 8 minutes. So that mutual number is going into the refinement during the stories. So that's how we are doing the backlog refinements. That's the whole exercise of this planning poker. So now you guys are said 3, 5, 28 or something. Okay, I'm just deleting the estimates. Now let's suppose Vasilius already shared the information or the recipes. Okay, now you all know the recipes. Can you again give your new number? How many minutes you need to build a plain omelette? Just give me your new number quickly. All of you. Utkarsh, Mukesh, Kitika. See the difference. Now Nitin convinced, he says he can build in 3 minutes. So he's convinced with Vasilius. And in the other time, Vasilius is also convinced you guys are doing, so it's not possible to build in 3 minutes for all of you.
Nitin is making without onions.
Yeah, he's cooking without onions. Yeah, so that's how we are now. We know the difference is not too much. It's only 5 or 8. So we can go with our agreement and we'll say we will put it 8 minutes for this particular recipe or to cooking an omelette. So that's how we are doing when we are doing the backlog refinement. This is the activity of estimations. See, this is now there is a different topic of how you are doing in the story points, how we will relate the story points in days. Is one story point is equal to 1 day, or is there should be no relation between times and story points? That's a completely different topic. So I'm not going on that side, right? That's a different thing, which if time allows, once you have finished the Scrum Master workshop, then we can pick that topic, because that also that single topic needs at least 2 to 3 hours of session. So I'm not going in depth about that. But this is the basic one. If you are driving in a Scrum Master and backlog refinement, how you can do that. And these are the websites like Scrum Poker Online or Planet Poker. These are the free open source websites which you can use, and you can use a planning poker when you're doing the virtual estimates with your team. Okay. Any queries till now?
For the story point and definition and everything, can you just park it that we need to discuss that, even if the rest of the team members might not want to continue after the completion, like in the sidebar somewhere, that's something that we need to cover, or it's already in your plan of action?
I mean, see, there are hundreds of topics, so I can't do that. But if you guys are really interested, I only plan for 5 to 6 workshops of the specific Scrum Master, right?
Okay.
And then once we finish, then the second phase is, I think I already discussed, the second phase is need basis. So you guys decide what topic you really want to be discussed for the Scrum Master point of view, then a colleague will do that. So any one of you can just put it this one of your topic which you really want to understand in depth, and we will do it after 5 or 6 or 8, whatever sessions we need to finish the basics of the Scrum Master. Okay. Now, till now, we finished the estimations, we finished the prioritizations. We also discuss about the breakdown of the stories. Any queries? Okay. Now, estimations is also done. We know and the same way you're doing for the rest of your refinement. Now, this is the another thing, which is another health checkup, the energy checkup. Why it's really required. So suppose when you are sitting on a 1.5 hour of meeting, and sometimes some teams, they are saying we'll do only 2 meetings, 1 2-hour refinement, and then if something is left, we will discuss in the second 2-hour sprint planning. So sometimes the discussions are so intense and stressful, your team is not focused after discussion of 2 stories. So if you feel if you get any these kind of hints from those meetings, what you can do is you can quickly just do an health checkup. Guys, can we continue for one more stories, or can we just stop this meeting here and we will meet after 2 days or 3 days or next week, whatever is the best suitable. The reason is when we are doing the refinement, the focus of each and everyone is really important. If your team is not focused, what they will do is they will come up on the planning poker. They will randomly give you 20, 8, 13 or 0 or 1. And then they'll say, okay, I just need to select one sticky card, and it's not my job. The rest, the Scrum Master will take care. If people are joining these refinement with these kind of intentions, you will face the consequences when you are actually running the sprint. Because might be here people are not focused. They will say, everyone says 1 1 1 1 1. You put the 1 story point in the stories, and when they actually take the as a committed work in the sprint planning during the implementation, they says no, it's not a 1 story point. It needs an 8 story point because it's that big. So if your team is not focused during the backlog refinement, the end result is you will get a lot of failures during your sprint or end of your sprint. So that's why the backlog refinement is so crucial. So that's a role of a Scrum Master, to be focused more toward this. Okay, any queries, or should we move to the next meeting, which is, what was the next after the sprint? Backlog refinement.
Sprint planning.
Yes. So we will move to the sprint planning. This is easiest. How many of you already tried the sprint plan? Or doing or planning to do? Okay, let me just put the link.
Honestly, I get task from the client, so like day before yesterday or everything like that, the daily scrum feels like sprint planning.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one person's job to implement an whole agile, right? It's an organization's job. So
Yeah.
that's why until or unless your organization is not fully agile transformed, if one person is trying to do that, it's very difficult. But it's only difficult. It's not impossible. It's still possible. But it's the only thing is it's more difficult to do that. The reason is because your leadership, your stakeholders are not aligned. They are not understanding. They're saying no, still we want to go into the same traditional way, no matter what framework you're using. Okay, so can anyone give me what is the goal of the sprint planning?
To identify the team commitment for the next sprint, basically. So from the product backlog, they want to pick the items that they want to commit to in that future sprint.
Who is the owner of the sprint planning?
Sprint planning. I think the both Scrum Master and the team decides that, because
The
product
Scrum team.
owner is, yeah, Scrum team. And product owner is, I think, optional. He can join the discussion and cannot. I think that's my understanding.
No, all three are really important.
Okay. So
I
Scrum
will,
team
I
is
will tell you how.
Scrum team is equals to product owner plus Scrum Master plus development team. So
Yes,
if we are
that's a Scrum team.
yeah.
Yes.
So if we are talking Scrum team, then all
Yes.
three roles
All
are
three are-
supposed to
Three
all
hats
three are-
are required.
for sprint planning. Okay.
And it's who's the primary owner of the sprint planning is the development team is the primary owner.
Prime.
Scrum team is still taking the ownership, but Scrum team is the primary owner, and that's reason is the development team is taking according to their capacity what they can deliver in the 2 weeks. When we finish our product backlog refinement, out of 10, 5, and 2, we know these are the important items. So now the product owners has similarly, let's say those are the 2 from the 1 feature. So similarly, if the product owner says these are the 10 items, that's important to deliver in the next sprint. Now product owners is ready with the 10 prioritized items, but product owner cannot commit how much we can deliver. Scrum Master cannot commit how much the team can deliver. It's only the development team who can commit how much they can deliver. In most of the organizations, Scrum Master and the product owners, they are trying to command the team. They are trying to commit on the behalf of the development team. That should not be the real goal, and it's the ownership of the Scrum Master to make sure neither he or she or the product owner is really commanding and giving the thing. Okay, so if you guys are, I don't know if you feel or not, sometimes Scrum Master is assigning the task to each individual developer. Okay, you can take care of these 2 items. The developer 2 can take care of these 2 items. Developer 3 can take care of these 2 items. Developer 4 can take care of these 2 items. That's how we will divide it. Is this the right way to do the sprint planning?
No.
No. What we will do is we have a set of 4 developers, which includes a backend, front end, database, QA, whatever is it. And the whole team can say out of those 10 items, how much they can deliver. If the team is only comfortable and confident to deliver 6 items, then team says we will only take the 6. Now it's product owner's responsibility to say what 6 are important. So generally, most of the time, product owners already prioritize the list, priority 1, 2, 3, 4, like 1 to 10. And the team says we can take the first top 6 items because that's what we can deliver according to our capacity, right? So that's how the sprint planning is going. That's the expected of the end goal of the sprint planning. Once we are finishing the sprint planning meeting, at the end, the team should be confident to deliver what they committed. If they committed 6 items, it's development team's responsibility to deliver those 6 items at the end of the sprint. Now, what is the role of a Scrum Master? Development team is taking the ownership. They are committing work. Product owner is prioritizing the backlog. So what Scrum Master is doing during the sprint planning?
They ask.
Scrum Master managing these things. We 6 tasks, 6 task activity assigned to the developer. They fulfill as per time frame.
Chetan, I feel like Scrum Master limits the work. Like it won't take like more than what to say estimated task. It won't overload a team with more tasks. And again, he knows like capacity of the team, you could say, and he knows like how many tasks can be done. Like if there is like a person who will be like in leave or something like that. So yeah, like that.
Yes. See, Scrum Master should not, as I said, should not derive, should not assign, but Scrum Master can take a check if we have the capacity versus load. So what capacity we have for those 10 days, according to the team members, and what load we have. Load in the sense, if the team is confident to deliver 6 story points, those 6 stories, what is the total story point of those 6? Now suppose the total stories of those 6 are 35 story points. And if for the last 3 sprints or for the last 5 sprints, team is only delivering 20 or 21 story points. Now the team says we are confident to deliver 35. But the Scrum Master says, if we are looking into our past 6 sprints or past 4 sprints, we are not confident. We should not commit 35. We should commit less. So those kind of a check, I'm not saying we should not commit 35, but this is a check which Scrum Master can put. Scrum Master says, if what you guys are feeling now, are you still confident to deliver 36? Because for the last 6 sprints, we are only delivering 21 and 22. But the another reality is we are only committing 21 and 22. And that's why we are delivering 100%. So can we stretch ourselves? Can we just commit more? So if we are saying, yes, we can commit more, is this a right number to increase by 20% or 30%? Can we go with only 5% of, like instead of, if you are only delivering 22, can we only commit 25 or 27 instead of 35? So those kind of a check, Scrum Master can do that during the sprint plan. But still, even after the discussion, team says, no, it's fine. We all pretty much confident and we can deliver 35. And all the team members, it's not only one team member, if all the team members are having the confidence to deliver the 35, then Scrum Master should not stick to the past results. Then Scrum Master says, if the whole team is confident, let's commit 35 and we'll do that. So those kind of a reality check we have to be, should be in the discussion when we are doing the sprint planning. That's the one thing. Second thing is, product owner always, in the real world, product owner always have a pressure from the stakeholders to deliver more. So sometimes product owner cannot take a pushback where if there are 10 items on the high priority and team is only committing 6, the product owner says, no, guys, stakeholders need these all 10 items. If you are not able to deliver 10, at least commit the 8. We will deliver 8. But team is not confident. Team can only confident to take 6. So when we have these kind of conversations, again, the Scrum Master is the one who's playing the crucial role. He says, there is no point of pushing the team because you might be at the end of the sprint planning meeting, you can convince the team and team says, okay, we will deliver 8. But after 2 weeks, you will only get the delivery of the 4 items. And why instead of 6? Why you only get the 4 items? Because your team members everyone is having the tendency of multitasking, and your team members are in huge pressure to deliver all 8 items, and that's why they are unable to finish even 6. They only delivered 4. So as a Scrum Masters, we have to make sure the product owner is also aligned. Now, what we can do in these scenarios, if the team is only confident to deliver 6, let's only commit 6. Let's try to finish those 6 items as early as possible in the sprint. And once we are done, if the time is left in the sprint, we can try to take more work. We can try to take 1 or more 2 stories from the rest of the code. So that should be the reality check exercise the Scrum Master should do during the sprint planning. Mukesh, you have any queries?
Yeah. I have 2 quick questions. Okay. Little diverting, but yeah, it's kind of related. So in Kanban, do we have a sprint kind of thing?
Sorry?
In Kanban, do we have sprint planning or sprint thing?
No, see, if you have a Kanban, sprint is only the part of Scrum framework.
Okay.
So if you are using Kanban, then there is no sprint planning.
No sprint. Yeah, correct.
But we have a refinement. Still in Kanban, we have a refinement. The reason is you might be have same 1,000 items in the backlog. So what you really want to put in the top of the Kanban. So if you really want to put 10 items or 20 items or 50 items, you can just do a refinement for those 20 or 50 items. So that need a backlog refinement. In some situations, we are doing the planning, but that's not calling the sprint planning. That's calling the planning of what we are going to deliver in next 1 month or next 3 months or quarter or something. So even in Kanban, we have a planning, but we are not calling that a sprint planning, right? That's a Kanban planning or something. I mean, namings you can use whatever you want.
So can we say the role of Scrum Master in Kanban is to refinement of this backlogs?
Yeah, I mean, if see, because there's no sprint planning, there's only the backlog refinement.
Correct. So his job will be
the same
or like correct.
Yes.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Now, so that's the same thing. Even if I can share my screen, you can see on the screen as well. What we just discussed, same thing is there. This is again the header check.
But Chetan, it's like Chetan, I have a question. It's like, see, when you don't have ceremonies, you don't have anything. If the company is using only Kanban, is Scrum Master required in Kanban?
See, I'm not saying we must have or we should not have. That also depends on the team. It's not only, see, what we are trying to convince here is we only need a Scrum Master when we have ceremonies. No, ceremonies is only the 10% of the Scrum Master's role. The remaining 90% we will discuss when we are going in deeper of roles and responsibilities and do's and don'ts. So whatever we are discussing right now, these are the ceremonies and stuff. What is the role and involvement of Scrum Master? This is only the 10% of the Scrum Master's expectations. Now, what is the remaining 90%? That is main important, crucial, and that helps the Scrum Master as well to grow in their professional career. If they focus on the remaining 90% instead of the ceremonies. So no matter either you're using Kanban, Scrum, Safe, or if you're using Waterfall, I will suggest we can still play a Scrum Master role in a traditional Waterfall as well. If we understand what is the remaining 90%. But most of the time, when we are preparing for the interviews and when we are giving the answers, our mind is only thinking for the 10%. Okay, it's a Scrum Master interview. So there are 5 ceremonies, 3 artifacts, then these 3 roles, and I should know only these things. And that's why if you're going for any well-established agile organization and if you're giving an interview of a Scrum Master, the chances of get hired is very minimal. Because our mindset is only stuck to the 10%, but they are expecting you to think beyond the ceremonies, beyond to sending the invite. That's not the only rule. Company says you're only the Scrum Master, your only job is to just make sure all the 4 ceremonies are happening on time, and at the end, team is delivering all that. That's the difference, right? Okay, coming back to this. This is the review of the product roadmap.
Sorry, I just want to ask one thing. Uh, if an organization is using Kanban, do you think that the responsibility, not the role, the responsibilities of a product owner and a Scrum Master is given to one person? Because that one product owner is talking to the stakeholder to identify the requirements and the priorities, and then that product owner slash Scrum Master is talking to the development team that okay, for so these are the revised priorities and everything, and we need to work on these new items and in this order. Like these are
See,
the
there is no
defined to-do
yes
list.
and there is no for
No.
this.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
reason is that also depends on the budget of the program. That
Yeah.
also depends on the way of working of that particular organizations. There are organizations where the developer is playing the role of a product owner, the senior developers are playing the role of product owners, senior developer are playing the role of a scrum master. There are project managers who are playing the role of a project manager, come product owner, come scrum master. There are BA who are playing the role of a BA, come product owner. There are scrum master who are playing the role of a scrum master, come agile coach, come delivery manager. So it depends how the organization is structured, right? No matter
Yeah.
what roles you are getting, but
Yeah, it's depend upon the key, how much budget and
yes,
the
and it
company,
depends.
company scale and other
Yes.
things and requirements.
So it depends what hat you are wearing at what time.
Okay.
If you are in a meeting where people are expecting you to play the role of a scrum master, then you have to be think through from a scrum master mindset. Now in the next meeting after an hour, you are sitting with the leadership where your leadership is planning to talk about the budget of the program and stuff. Then they are expecting you to wear the hat of a project manager. So you will not, you have to remove the hat of the scrum master. You cannot think from the team's perspective. You have to think from program perspective. You have to give the answers according to the program, to focus the budget, to focus of the timelines and stuff. So that depends what hat you are wearing at what time. Accordingly, you are reacting. Okay, we are running out of time. So what we will do is we will just finish this and then I will try to keep another 5 to 7 minutes for the Q&As. I know we are already discussing the middle, but if you have, we can do that. So we already finished this part, the review of the product roadmap. We also do that. What is the priority items we have, what we have to be planned out of those 10, 5, 2. And then what is the definition of this or what is the sprint goal? So suppose out of those 10, if you're taking those 6 items, so what is the actual outcome the business is expecting? So as a team, as a Scrum team, we have to be put down the sprint goal. Like what is our sprint goal? Our sprint goal is if you are taking these 6 items, so after end of the sprint, we should be able to finish this particular feature. Or let's take an example of if you are building a new website, then my goal of this first sprint is I should have a login screen. That's the goal of the sprint. So the focus of each and every team member is we will make sure we have an up and running login screen or on a home page, whatever is the goal we have. So we all should have a common goal. That's very important. So when we are finishing or closing our sprint planning, the whole team should have only one sprint goal. If you have multiple sprint goals, then it's the conclusion of the sprint is 90% is failure. Now I will tell you why. You have 3 team members, 3 developers, 1 front end, 1 back end, 1 database, and 1 tester. 4. If the goal of the front end is I only need to design the front page. The goal of the back end guy is I have to just only build the API. The goal of the database is I only need to create the tables so that the API can put the data. If everyone have their own separate goals in the sprint, when we are really doing the integration at the end, we will fail because we don't have a goal. But if the whole team have only single goal, we should have an up and running login page. Then we know to achieve that goal, we need a front end, we need a back end, we need a database table, and we also need a QA. So we all contribute in the success of our sprint goal. So when we are concluding the sprint planning, at the end, we should have one common goal and everyone responsible toward that sprint goal. If that goal is not achieved, if we are not having a successful running login page, So it's not a QA's failure, it's not a developer's failure or a front-end guy's failure. It's a failure of a whole team. So when we are doing our next retrospective, we should not blame because of the QA. They didn't finish the QA because of the database guy. We didn't finish the integration. No, it's a failure for all of us because we committed we will give an login page at the end of the sprint, and as a team we failed. So that's the important part about the goal. We should have a common goal. This is the capacity part. We already talked about what is the capacity we have and how much we can take. And this is the planning where out of 10 items, what we can take 6 items. Okay, we have those 6 items, and then who is taking care of that part, the team can figure out by themselves. It's not a product owner or Scrum Master responsibility to assign the work. So that's the how we are doing the sprint planning. Now, any queries on sprint planning? Okay, no, then we are done with these 2, and we still have 5 more minutes to discuss if you have any queries. And next time we will talk about the daily Scrum, which will not take much time, and the retrospective and the sprint review. Those 3 we will cover, and at some part of the roles and responsibilities we will also try to initiate.
Chetan, can you share me the tutorial link for this?
Yeah, sure, I will do that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm just